Back in 2018 or 2019, I was hanging out with a friend one evening. It was late fall or early winter, one of those in-between months where the sun seems to vanish just after 5 p.m. By 6:30, the world already feels like it's been swallowed whole by the dark. I remember saying goodbye and stepping outside, the cold air immediately making me pull my jacket tighter. There's something about early darkness that just feels different. Not quite night, not quite day. A perfect backdrop for something unsettling. The drive home only took about 10 or 15 minutes. Familiar streets blurred past under dim yellow streetlights. Soon I was pulling into the driveway. That's when I realized the house was completely dark. My parents were out, either at dinner or maybe out of town for the weekend. I can't quite remember now, but it doesn't matter. What stuck with me wasn't the reason for their absence. It was the fact that I was entirely alone. I stepped inside and closed the front door behind me. It clicked shut with a solid, final kind of sound. You walk straight into the living room from the front door. To the right is the kitchen, and to the left is a short hallway. At the end of that hallway is my bedroom, with a spare room and the bathroom in between. I didn't bother flipping on any lights. The layout was burned into my brain, and the glow from a distant street lamp gave the rooms just enough shape to navigate. I walked past the kitchen and turned toward the hallway, eyes adjusting to the darkness. And then, mid-step, I froze. Out of the corner of my eye, just beyond the bathroom doorway, I saw something. Not a shadow, not a trick of light. A face. Half of one, anyway. Just enough to make out part of a cheek, the edge of an eye, and a sliver of shoulder. Someone, or something, was peeking out watching me. Not moving, just there. Before my brain could fully register it, the figure slipped soundlessly back into the bathroom. Gone. Like it had never been there at all. I stood in place, heart hammering. My breath caught in my throat. Logic should have kicked in. Should have told me to run, call someone, turn on every light. But instead, I found myself walking forward, as if on autopilot, straight to the bathroom door. I hesitated just a second. Then I flipped the light switch. The light buzzed to life, sterile and harsh. After the hallway darkness, the room was empty. Not just empty, undisturbed. The shower curtain was open. The window was shut and locked. No signs of anything or anyone. I stood there longer than I should have, trying to find something. A footprint on the tile, a creak, a breeze, a reason. But there was nothing. Just me and the hum of the ceiling light. I've had small things happen before, doors closing on their own, the occasional whisper of something I couldn't explain. But never anything like that. Never something so clear, so deliberate. Even now, years later, I don't know what I saw. A trick of the dark, a tired mind, or something else. Something that wanted to be seen just for a second. Whatever it was, that moment is burned into my memory like a flashbulb. And sometimes, when I come home late and the hallway is dark again, I catch myself slowing down, wondering if I'll see that face again. And if next time, it won't slip away quite so quickly. Have you ever felt like something was watching you from the corner of your eye? I'm sure many have, maybe even you. It's usually just a trick of the mind, or so I thought. But what if it's not? It happened one night while I was browsing the internet for a new DVD player. A shiver ran up my spine, and I saw it. A black and silver blur, just at the edge of my vision. I shook my head, dismissing it as a trick of the light or my mind playing games. But as the night went on, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. It was nearly 3 in the morning when I finally decided to call it a night. As I stood up to head to bed, that feeling of apprehension returned. I glanced at the corner, but nothing was there. The next day dragged on, and by the time I got home, I was exhausted. I promised myself to get to bed earlier, but as I poured myself a drink, I saw it again. This time, clearer. I called out, hoping it was just my imagination, but the silence was deafening. I grabbed a knife, my heart pounding, ready to confront whatever was lurking. I searched the apartment, every corner, every closet. Nothing. But the feeling of being watched never left. I locked my bedroom door that night, knife by my side. The next day at work, I tried to laugh it off with my co-workers. But deep down, I was still shaken. The jokes helped, but only for a moment. I returned home late, feeling a bit more at ease. But as I parked, I saw it. A figure peering through my blinds. My heart sank. I knew I had to check it out. With a tire iron in hand, I unlocked my door, praying I wouldn't find anything inside. Inside, the apartment was dark and silent. But then I saw it. Words scratched into the wall. Latin words I couldn't understand. The bedroom door swung open, and I saw it again. The black and silver blur. My heart raced as I bolted for the door. The police arrived, but whoever it was had vanished. They promised to keep watch, but I knew it wasn't over. The following week was quiet. I almost convinced myself it was all in my head, but the shadows never truly left. Saturday night, I drank a bit too much and stumbled to bed. I thought I was safe, but something woke me up. My eyes adjusted to the dark, and I saw the closet door ajar. The black and silver blur stared at me, clearer than ever. It was whispering, a language I didn't understand. But the intent was clear. It was angry, and it knew I could see it. A clawed hand reached up from under the bed, and I knew there was more than one. They were everywhere. I ran, slamming the door behind me. They were fast, but I was faster. I grabbed my keys and fled into the night. I haven't been back since. I thought I'd be safe in the city, but I was wrong. They're everywhere, watching, waiting. If you ever see something at the edge of your vision, ignore it. Pretend it's nothing. Because if they know you can see them, they'll come for you too.
My brother drowned in the lake down the street when I was 7. He was 13. His room has stayed shut ever since. This morning, while packing for college, I decided to finally go in there. Not for anything dramatic, just to take a few keepsakes. I've been in his room before, sat on his bed, looked through his shelves. But today, I found something I hadn't seen before. A stack of DVDs labeled 1, 2, and 3, hidden in the bottom drawer of his dresser. The only DVD player in the house is still hooked up to his old TV. Everything else went streaming years ago. I told myself not to do it. They weren't mine. They probably didn't matter. But tonight, they started calling to me. It felt physical, a pull in my chest. So I crept back across the hall, slipped into his room, and locked the door behind me. I put in the first DVD. It was a home video. I didn't even know we had any. The video starts with static, then clears just enough to show something. The picture is muddy, warped. It could be the living room, but the furniture looks wrong. Everything is too big or too small, shifting every time the frame jitters. No faces, no clear shapes, just flickering shadows that don't match what the voices are saying. There are voices, familiar ones, laughter, clinking dishes, and my mom calling my brother's name. It sounds like family in the background, just out of sight. I hear my brother's laughter, and the sound swallows me whole. Then beneath it is another voice, low, deliberate, close enough that you couldn't miss it. You haven't noticed yet. The video cut off, just like that. I scrambled to replay it, not even thinking about the other 2 discs still stacked under the TV. I just wanted to hear him laugh again. That laugh. I tried not to think about the end, though the fear of it was crawling slowly up my spine. Because the way it spoke, it sounded like it wasn't part of the recording at all. Like it was speaking to the camera. To me. I pressed play again, this time pausing every few seconds, desperate to make sense of what I was seeing. But nothing held still. Everything on the film looked almost familiar, like a room you swear you've been in but can't place. The walls are a little too narrow, and the colors are washed out enough to make it something you've never seen before. It made me feel like my brain was short-circuiting. Then I froze the frame just before the moment he laughed. And there it was. A caption, faint and yellow, burned into the corner of the screen. July 30th, 2015. 7 months after my brother drowned. My first thought was that it was a glitch. It had to be. The camera must have been off by a year. There's no other explanation. I forced myself to breathe and to shove back the rising panic. Then I pressed play again. His laugh filled the room, and for a second, my fear washed away. It was just him again. He was alive, warm, present, a bittersweet rush of comfort and grief. But then the voice returned, closer this time, wet against the microphone, broken and cutting in and out like static. "You noticed," they said. I ripped the DVD out of the player and threw it across the room. I don't even know why I did it. Adrenaline, I guess. My hands were shaking so hard I couldn't control myself. I'm trying to think of logical explanations. I want to believe there's one, but every reason I come up with feels paper thin. I just bolted back to my room and dove under the covers. Like that would help. I don't want to watch the other videos. I don't. But I can feel them pulling at me, like they're not finished. Like I owe them something. I can't sleep. It's dark. It's late. The rain just started. The bathroom faucet always drips, but tonight it sounds so much louder. You could almost confuse it for footsteps.